following up my live from the other day with some more alcohol ink inking. Alcohol inking, yeah. I already put down on my paper some alcohol blending solution. I should have all the links down below. And I have my cheapo alcohol inks here. I have a plethora of pinks and purples. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, oh, this one looks super red. It says pink. I think they mislabeled that one. Oh well. And I'm just going to put a lot of different, yeah, this is dark pink. That's coming out purple. Fun times. So I am aiming to make myself a galaxy looking look, but we'll see how well it goes. Because right now I'm just experimenting. It's a little more pink, but it says rose red. That's strange that the rose red isn't more rose, whatever. Okay, violet. I have some purples here. What I did was I concentrated most of the blending solution right here on the edge. And just kind of, and you see how it's spreading? It'll spread more when I start putting some of the airflow on it. And if you caught my live the other day, I seem to be missing my hand blower, which is fine because with the newly found arthritis in my wrist, the hand blower is not, or the squeeze blower is not really helpful anyways. So on this bottom edge, I'm doing more of the purples and pinks. So you see I'm really oversaturating. And then at the top, I am just putting lines of silver. And that, you'll see there's a lot more mixative in it, so it needs extra shaking, and I'll come back and do another layer later. Now I'm going to turn on my heat tool on the cool setting and let it blow. Of course, it's like blowing off of my glass mat, which I'm going to salvage the rest of my pages underneath, and we're just going to tap that back on. We'll add some splatters, and it's okay. All right, bring more. Alright, so I'm one of those people that I really like covering a page. Don't know why that is, but that's just how I do. And I'm liking the galaxy look. I think I need to bring some more actual purples. The purple blue is kind of taken over. And this is just some differently labeled. And bring some silver back in, right in the middle. And that mixative might be clogging my thing, so we'll just leave that there. So the pink wasn't really pink, but the rose red was pink, so we'll go with that. Bring some pinks towards the purple area. And this time I'm not going to add any mixative. I'm just going to blow circular motions. All right. And then doing the same thing, pulling that extra excess, bringing it back in, just kind of swooshing it back. And I'm going to allow the texture of the rag to bring some swooshes in. It's kind of being a little extra mixed media with some strokes, looking like it's paint strokes. Wind movement in this galaxy. And you'll see that nice silver is just mixing right back in. And this is just different ways to do alcohol inking. This is not like, there's no real textbook. It's experimentation, which is why I probably love alcohol inking so much. So you'll see how a lot of that just really came together, and then I'm going to lighten it by adding a line of mixative right in the middle. And going further out, my tool will be very high up, swirling it. And then bringing more lightness to the middle, right there. Kind of looks like a handprint. And then I'm going to use that same technique. And this time, instead of straight streaks, I'm going to do buffing streaks. So swirling it, giving it more of a cloud effect. And then coming back and just punching some texture in there, so those circular and straight lines aren't as harsh. They have a little bit of breaking up happening. And then, let's see, one more thing I want to add, which is, again, that the little bit more of that pink. I like that rose red pink. So now I'm just going to add it to a couple of darker areas. And I'm going to drop it from higher, so they start off a little more splotchy. And, oh, that's the first amount I got on myself. All right, so from high up, and then come in. And of course I sped through that so you don't have to watch me push it all the way. But I am absolutely loving the results so far. And I have a little pump of hand sanitizer, try to get the pink that I did splatter on myself off a little bit before I start lifting up on the corners, before it starts drying to my glass mat, which has happened because that liquid does tend to pool underneath. And of course I've broken my thumbnail so I can't use my thumbnail to lift it. I need a tool to lift it. Let's see if I can use some tweezers. There we go. Slowly, patiently. Alright, so then you see there's that pooling. That's actually kind of a really cool texture too. But on top of this, you can see how it's drying. And I wanted to show you the one I did on my live the other day. The way it dried, it actually looks super wet still, which is kind of a cool effect because when I digitize this, it's going to look like a wet surface. And that's pretty awesome. And the other thing is, if I were to frame it, this one won't be framed, but if I were to frame this one, you know, I could really just play off that shininess of that and, you know, really have fun with it. So this one is for a very specific purpose. So I'm going to clean off my glass mat and be right back. So I've set the alcohol ink aside to finish drying. It's mostly dry. It doesn't look super dry because again, this specific alcohol ink dries a little shiny. Even though it's not glossy, it's matte paper. I've loaded into my Misty Mini the white cardstock I'm going to use. And from Kindred Stamps, I have the mischievous Lord of Mischief stamp set. Actually, it's called Mischief Maker. But if you've watched the show, you'll know the reference. And I'm going to try to be as true to color as possible, but yeah, well, we'll see how that goes. I'm going to do both the guys. And just to note that I intended to put green in here because that's the color theme of the God of Mischief is green. But I forgot. So, hey. And then the saying is be the best variant of you. I'm going to just do that one as well. And then I have my Distress Oxide Black Soot. And I'm going to make myself enough space to do this without knocking everything off of my space. But I'll do it this direction. See, I can't say the mistake, but I decided to preemptively get everything ready, and yeah. So here's another problem. My ink pad seems to be a little bit dry. Alright, I think I activated it a little bit, so let's see how this goes. And I've wanted to play with this stamp set for the longest time, and the person that this is going to, I feel like they might appreciate this, so we're gonna go with it. And of course, I'm adding ink to this off scene, but you get the concept here. And then using a little pressure tool. Kindred Stamps has such cute stamp sets, and they're great if you want to ever practice your alcohol inking, or I've seen some really amazing work with colored pencils even. some people just really have a knack for coloring and shading. I feel like I'm out of practice. I used to be great at it, and then I just kind of stopped doing it as often. So definitely not rusty, but not at the level I used to be. So eventually I'll get back to it. But oh my gosh, look how beautiful they are. And of course it's upside down, so I gotta see. Super nice, crisp, clear. All right, and before the ink dries too much, setting that aside, I'm going to throw some embossing powder. I have the Pink and Main Dusty powder here, which I never seem to get this. There we go. There's a little thing that helps supposedly. Here, I'm actually supposed to do this off that sheet. Okay, so Dusty to be anti-static. And then moving that out of the way. Now I have my coffee filter to catch my clear embossing powder. And I like to do it at an angle. And this is just the way that I like to do it. I do have a tray above me. I never use it. I never remember to use it. So, meh. It is what it is. Alright. Then I'm going to heat from the back side to start with my heating tool. And I totally forgot to dusty. See? I told you, I'm a little rusty, even just on embossing powder. Yep. A little out of practice, but thankfully it's clear, so it's not going to be as noticeable. So you'll see I've zoomed in to do the alcohol inking, but I am sticking with mostly greens and browns, and you'll see I'm testing colors before I start going. I think I want the inner vest to be this color, and I am using Ohuhu alcohol ink markers. I love them. They're great for just starting out. If you're not sure you want to commit to full sets, they are a inexpensive way to get going, and I really truly love the results. Like, never have I been disappointed thus far. Oops. And I get the brush tip with the broad tip because I find that I get the best results personally. And I already knew what this green was gonna look like, so wasn't too worried about that. This show is one of my favorites, so definitely always look forward to the thought of a new season on this one. Especially because it's a character that technically was killed off in the Marvel Universe, but bringing it back is fun. Let's see, I want the shirt to be a little lighter blue-gray. And let's see, the tie should be nice bright green. Just a slightly different shade, and I'm going to bring this shade in on the edges just to give a little dimension. It's not going to be super noticeable or extravagant, but it's just a hint of a shadow. Literally it. Alright, and then we'll do his face next. I always get nervous on the face, but alas, it has to get done. Alright. And I'm going to just do a single color spread. The nice thing about doing the embossing powder is that it kind of helps keep your ink inside. I find I make less mistakes when I use embossing powder for especially a finer stamp design, meaning finer lines. The thicker lines, you've got some playing room, but. And then I'll come back in with some heavier blending. The nice thing about alcohol inks is it spreads too, so a lot of times the blending happens for you. You don't have to do all this extra work. Get his hands too while we're at it. And oh, his little neck spot. There we go. And then I think what we want is his pants to be a lighter brown. And this set, actually, the skin tone set is I have a fine tip and then a brush tip. Just for those finer details. Alright, I guess this is supposed to be his ears. Oh, let's not make it green. I'm not looking at what I just grabbed. Whoops. Don't mind me just making some ears green. Silly me. Alright, and then I'll do the darker brown for his hair. Switch into the brush side. And I'm kind of going to use a little bit of that brown from the pants. And this is a little more tedious. But I'm giving you a real-time look this time. Feel free to speed ahead. I will not be offended. I completely understand. But this way, with a real-time look, you can kind of see how, how my thought process is as I'm adjusting to an oops or whatever. Alright, so now I'm going to bring that lighter brown in. And I do like to keep my brush strokes, just in case something doesn't blend well, do like to keep my brush strokes in line with the shape that I'm drawing or coloring in. It's just a simple drawing technique. Doesn't work for everyone, but it helps me feel better about the end results, even if you see accidental spots. Like right there. Alright, I'm loving it. And then we're going to bring that darker brown back to the shoes. It's just a subtle shade change, but it works. And then, lastly, I'm going to try to use some metallic gold. This one I'm definitely going to try on the side, but it's a water-based metallic pen, and it should help make his crown look a little shiny. These metallic pens are like one of those deals you get on Amazon, which I will try to remember to put a link below for this as well. They are definitely interesting, like, because they're very thin, so you can do a lot of more fine detail. And a lot of other pens, they are super liquidy, and these are on the drier side, which I kind of like. Because it's very easy, especially with metallic pens, to overdraw and then end up with a puddle that looks just super awkward. So these kind of are dry enough that I make less mistakes, and I like that. I'm going to try a slightly different shade, but similar. Let's see how this one looks. Yeah, just a slight different shade for that highlight piece. And it's such a subtle change, just like these browns, such a subtle change that you don't really notice them. The other thing to note is try not to get the metallic on the black lines, because it's not like the alcohol ink where it won't cover it. It's a water-based ink, so it's providing like an actual coverage on those black lines, as if they have like a mica powder in their base. So there we go. That is the main character. Now we get to play with the other guy. Alright, this other character has more of an orangey brown to his clothes, so just picked a little slightly different shade of brown. A lot of the clothing is like 70s-ish inspired, I've noticed. So you'll see I'm not even doing full strokes because it's such a small space. So what I'm doing is more of dots, really, and then filling them in between, or tapping. That way I can cover this smaller space without, getting too much in between. And I'm going to try this orange. Let's see how it blends over here. Yeah, we'll do the little orange just lightly on the edge. So lightly you're not even gonna probably notice. Same with on the shoes. And there we go. Alright, and then his pants feel like they're going to be a little more like the, I feel like his pants are a little more potato brown. So not as red, but not super warm. Just a hair different. And then his shirt's just going to be the same shade of gray blue. And then there's that lighter brown for his tie. Oh, that's orange. Just kidding. Let's put brown back in there. Well, we just created a third shade of brown, I guess. On accident. I didn't look at what I grabbed. Whoops. Meh. It's a little more burnt. It's okay. Alright, so his hair color is different. He's got more of a sunflower. I'm trying to keep my hand out. And he's got some grays going on. So I'm going to be a little splotchier. It's kind of salt and pepper blonde hair. And then what I'll do is I will fill in with a gray. And I picked a warm gray. And we'll test it right here in the middle and see how it blends. It may be too dark, but I've committed already, so it is what it is. Salt and pepper hair kind of is just left up to the interpretation of the person. In my opinion, at least. So now I'm going to bring that yellow back. And then I have this white metallic marker. And I'm going to bring some white flecks. Give him a little shine too. But you'll see my little tiny strokes look like bitty hairs that follow along the hairline, so it looks like on purpose hair marks. And it's so subtle. And again, because it's a metallic marker, I want to make sure I'm not covering the blacks. Those black lines don't want to get lost. And then what I'm going to do is bring more of that, I'm just tapping more of that yellow back in. especially around the edges of the hair. And blend in that gray a little bit better. And now that salt and pepper hair looks more salt and peppery. All right, we'll do something similar with his mustache. And this time I'm not going to bring any of the darker gray. I'm just going to do a full fill and a little flex. All right, and I forgot the belt. And I'll give him that silver buckle. And last, the skin. He's a little more pinker. Test that skin shade. Oh, it's like tan. It should do better. Yep. Okay. And again, light brush strokes. And there we have it. Both gentlemen are completed, and I'm loving the look. So now I have the fun job of fussy cutting, and of course you can see how messy my desk got in the process. So I'm going to do an overall cutout. Just so I'm not holding onto this giant paper. And then we're going to get as close as possible. Leaving a small, very small white edge. And I mean tiny. And I suggest fussy cutting with one of these. It's a spring release. It simplifies life. For those of you like me who have a little bit of arthritis going on, simplifies life even more. I do have the scan and cut, and I could just scan and cut this, but I don't really want to wait to turn on my machine. I'm gonna just go. This is part of why I have a love-hate relationship with alcohol inking. Like, I have so many great sets, but fussy cutting is my absolute nemesis. Although this one's not too bad today. I've had other days where just too much of a struggle. And ta-da, one down, one to go. Although, thankfully, this one has a lot cleaner, more straightforward lines, so less to worry about.
I mean, I want to read from my bag.
Not yet, honey.
Huh?
I told you I have to finish some stuff first, and then we can talk about it, okay? Danny, take a deep... Yeah, I know. You have to wait to be on Mommy's timeline, not yours. Yeah. It's not a no. It's just not right now. We're in that phase of deciding if they're going to be okay with that. And most often, they're not. Right. All right. And the one thing about fussy cutting is the more often you do it, the easier it seems to go. And again, I'm out of practice, so this is also great rehab for arthritic hands because it forces hand-eye coordination, but also brain and muscle control. So that one wasn't as smooth as it should have been. Just gonna be honest. Not crazy about my fussy cutting on that one. But I also make sure that I lock this every time. And I forgot to color his hands. So there. Oh, he doesn't have white skin. Alright, now we're going to do a little bit of playing before we start assembling this card. I have some distress oxides, and I fully intend to make a hot mess happen here. So I got to protect my workspace and my clothes probably a little bit. But I have some Delusions Mica Spray. This is crushed grape, but it needs a good shake. And I'm going to spray it off and then spray towards. And it may need a little assistant drying, because remember, I forgot to mention actually that this is alcohol ink paper, but I believe this mica spray is a water-based. I could be incorrect, but it doesn't say on there. And now I have the Hickory Smoke Distress Spray. Shake that one up. Do one spray away. Oh, too close. Oh well. Okay. So that, oh, I covered my mouse. Mayday, mayday. Oh man. My mouse. So off screen, I went ahead and cut this down to size, and then I'm going to grab two of those greens from the alcohol markers, and I'm literally just going to go like this.
No Barbie dolls, but there's some big ones on the floor.
Can you put those away, please? And then I'm just going to go around that. And this is just kind of a graphic design approach. Just a different way to do your images and your sentiments. And then finally, I'm just gonna press that dark green, trying not to make it a line, but kind of looking a little distressed on purpose. And then taking that lightest green, coming back around. And the other green too. So you kind of get this little highlight shadow business going on. And it just adds to the fun. But it's just a different way to do a sentiment. And it's basically like creating my own paper or coloring. And I just blend back and forth until I feel ecstatic about the results. Here we go. Now we are ready to assemble. I have already pre-made a A2 size card front. It's out of 110-pound cardstock, white. I believe it's Nina brand. I'll link below where I got it from. Now I want to go edge to edge, right, Danny? Mm-hmm. Yep. I want to go edge to edge. Can you hand me my trimmer? It's right there by your feet. Probably not a great place for it, but
this.
Yep. Thank you, honey. All right. So I have the Tim Holtz trimmer. It makes a loud noise, and I'm basically just going to measure it out. It's a slight bit of metallic still on there. And I'm just gonna give some texture to it. Some extra texture. Don't really want to keep splatters on my trimmer here. Alright, so I am going to go 4 1/4, and it's really nice. There's a little measuring edge right there, so you can really just know. And then
I know it.
Yeah, and then you push it down. So this will become something else in a different project, I'm sure. All right, wait. I want to make sure we don't hurt the page. And then 5 1/2. I really like this trimmer. My other trimmer is great. It's a Fiskars. You want to do it? Well, we might have to do it again. Might not have gone deep enough. Hold on. Let me line it up again. Okay, push harder. Can you do that? Thank you, Danny. Great job.
Thank you, Danny.
Wait a second. You knocked my guy off on the floor.
Hold it.
Yep.
Why did I just do that?
I don't know why you did that. You silly goof. So I'm actually going to take the splatters off. And pause to clean that off, because that's going to be an issue later. Now that I have all the pieces together, I are cut and ready to put together, I'm going to go ahead and lay a nice layer of Daily Art glue. I'm going to edge on this card. Since there's still a little splattering of this stress spray, I'm going to use a rag to press it down first, and then put it under my acrylic block for a couple of seconds to get it really dry. While that's drying, I have a little scrap piece of paper. You'll see it's not even a fully straight one. I'm literally just going to add that metallic into it. Just feel like that's fun. And then basically I'm just breaking up a little bit of the edges of all that. It's just going to be my grounding piece for the card. So it's not just a bunch of characters floating in midair in the galaxy. They're watching the galaxy behind them. Okay. So that's nice and tacky. All right. Now that should be long enough. Huh?
Can I have this now?
Yes, you can have it right now. Thank you for asking kindly. Have it in your bedroom. And try not to over layer that. I'm going to put it just slightly under center. And maybe someday they'll have a portion of this set where there's like the control board. Just a suggestion for Kindred Stamps to come up with a secondary look. I don't have anything currently that has anything remotely like that. And then I'm going to make it look like they're standing just shoulder above that. And other side, the God of Mischief. Make sure that those horns don't curl up. Nice light layer of glue. And alright, so under that acrylic block, while I decide where I want this to go. So I could be right in the middle. I'm gonna put it Nope. Looks better on the bottom. Go figure. Alright. On the bottom it is. So I really love how the texture of this galaxy came out, the pinks and the purples, and how it offsets the guys with their greens and the browns. Really just makes them look like they're not a part of it, but they're a part of it, and I love the outcome. So I hope you all had as I drop things, I hope you all had fun watching as I played around. Maybe it inspired you to do a little something different, play with something that's been sitting on the shelf. A lot of these things have been sitting on the shelf for a while, and so I figured it was time to just go play and have fun. So thank you for joining in today. Don't forget to check out the links down below. I currently am just shy of 700 subbies, and I'm going to do a huge giveaway when I hit those 700 subbies. So if you want to be a part of that giveaway, share this and tell your friends, hey, by the way, my friend is like trying to get 700 subbies and wants to do a giveaway, so join. Otherwise, I will also have crafty links if you would like to shop my affiliate links. That would be super appreciated to help support my channel and my little crafty family. And we hope to be on here a little bit more often because we are doing new projects, especially child-oriented projects. So I'm having a lot of fun with the kids, and I would love to share a little bit of what we are working on. So with that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to find the joy in your day, and happy making. Bye!